Hi everyone. I would like to welcome Olga Ivleva today. She has been in Canada for 2.5 years, but she has huge experience in HR and at the same time she's a career coach. I think today's conversation is going to be very valuable for all of those who are looking for a new job, trying to find themselves in Canada and maybe in some other markets. But I believe today's conversation is going to be interesting in terms of getting to know how to search for a job, how to find the best career move for you as an immigrant, as a person who is not an immigrant in general. But let's start with Olga. Hi Olga, welcome. Welcome. Thank you for coming and taking the time to share with us your stories, your experience.
Hi, Samir. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I believe that today our conversation could be interesting and valuable for the people.
This is great. Thank you again so much. Let's start with talking about your experience as HR and what prompted you to go into this career at the beginning 15 years ago.
It's an unexpected question. Oh, okay. So my first education is from finance, but I joined the bank. It was a dream job for me. But then 2 years after, I decided to try myself as a business trainer, and I just stuck this direction. And then I just started from the bank, and I became a business trainer, then in HR. And when I arrived to Canada, I already have 15 years of HR background, and it was helpful.
That's interesting. I did, especially back home before moving here, I did participate in many similar trainings myself, but it never made me move to that. I kind of continued my career in business and helping businesses. But it's interesting that you made that move and decided to go and continue in a different direction. But on that note, when you moved here, we're talking about different directions, but what do you believe was the biggest differences in the job market in Canada and in Ukraine?
Yeah, first of all, let me make a step back. So Canada definitely has its own rules, and it's more formal. So to work in Ukraine and to have a different education, it's okay. But in Canada, I received a lot of questions around my education. You need to know how to apply all your skills, all your background, and how to sell yourself on this interview. So I explained that, okay, I have a finance education and I have HR background, but for me, my education helps me to understand business, to see connection, and to speak with owners on the same language with numbers and understanding like deep connections in business. Yeah, let me share my personal story. When I arrived to Canada, I had no doubt that I will find my job easy, fast, and quickly. So I had a good education. I had a good background, like experience with the best top employers from Ukraine. But 10 days after all my applications, it was quiet. And I was so surprised. Like, I felt myself like a superstar and no one doesn't want to hire me. So I was surprised and like, what I'm doing wrong? What's going on? Why they didn't contact me? And then I started to research how everything works here. And it definitely not the same as in Ukraine. And I started to understand, okay, how you should write your resume that they will contact you, that they will notice you. How should you have your interview to understand, to help them to understand that you're like a missing puzzle piece for them. How to show your impact on business, not just to show that you're cool, you're great, but how you can help them to achieve their business goals. Yeah, and after all this understanding, researching, I received 3 job offers at the same time.
Wow.
And yeah, something beautifully happened. I started to do a lot of volunteering jobs to help people to find their jobs, and then it turned around to my own business. Yeah, and now I help a lot of people to find their jobs and to build their career here.
Dear friends, I would like to take a quick pause right now to say thank you to Sergey from New West Video for helping out with all of our visuals today. And if you want to find out more, there's a link below. And I would also like to say thank you to Angelika for helping with all the social media marketing. And guess what? There's also a link below to find out more. And also, one favor from you. Please like and subscribe, and share the video with your friends and family. This is amazing. I mean, the way you were able to find yourself in Canada and, really quickly adapt. And I think it's very important because when I meet a lot of people, as well as you do, one of the challenges I see is adapting to new realities. Mm-hmm. People still think of the way they did things when before moving, and they believe that those same mechanisms will be applicable. And maybe some of them might be applicable, but not everything. But you were able to do that research to understand the market better. So my question to you is, how do you start doing research? For people who are listening and say, okay, look, where do I look for? Do I use ChatGPT? Do I go to specialized websites? Where is a good place to start?
I started to use this career coaching service. So my first experience was with HR from US, and then I understood, no, like I need someone from Calgary to understand this specifically job market. And a lot of immigrants think that, there is like a North American environment. It's like a big brother and they know how to do everything better. No, it's not like this, but you should follow all these rules and all these standards. So for example, if you will write your resume, you don't need to write, 5 pages, of course. Like I respect all your achievements, but it should be a very short, sharp, with achievements, with numbers, and not one resume for a lot of position, but you need to calibrate for every position, for every company, and to speak on their language and to understand what they need. Okay, if this company want to grow now, you should sell yourself and your skills, how you can help them. If they have like different projects or challenges, you should understand deeply. And it means that you don't need to make 100 applications every day, maybe just 5, but every day and with high quality to understand this company, this business, this industry, and how you can be useful for them.
So basically, if you're applying to 100 positions in one day, then you're doing something wrong. You are probably not catering enough, not thinking this through. It's more of that mass market approach with the willingness or hopefulness that something will turn out. Whereas if you are catered, you do your research, you adapt, just like yourself, you're able to get 3 interviews at the same time or 3 job offers at the same time, right? So
I can't say like any judgment, and I believe that probably it depends from the level of position. But if you're a high quality candidate and you want to receive like something higher, not just like if we are talking about senior position, yeah, you should do research and you should not just to read the article, but research financial reports, research projects, listen to podcasts from CEO, listen to some interviews from HR director, just to understand where they are and how you can fit. And you can understand yourself. Is it interesting for you or no? Maybe it's not interesting for you, this place and this corporate culture.
And that's actually a very good point. Not a lot of people realize that, especially if it's a public company, they will have information available in their annual reviews where they will say, okay, this is our plan for the next year, for maybe next 5 years. And knowing their plans, you can adapt to that. So it's a very good point. Thank you for raising that.
Yeah, especially like you can feel all these corporate culture things even on interview. on all this process, how they interact with you. So sometimes they can provide 5 the same interviews with the same level of recruiters, and like they ask the same questions, and like you can feel that, oh my God, like it seems that there is some mess here. Like sometimes they don't answer on your questions. They don't understand really what they want. So probably it could be a challenge and then to work with them.
Makes sense, yes. If they don't know what they want, how do they know where to apply your skill set then?
Yeah.
But in terms of those conversations with HR, with the companies, one of the challenges I see is for people to get feedback from those companies. Because, we're not perfect. We want to evolve. And if you don't get that feedback, how do you know how to prepare for your next interview? So how would you suggest, what would be the best way to approach asking for feedback?
It's really a good question. And like, I'm a person who was on the different sides. Like I was as a candidate, and now I'm in the company and I can hire different people. And first of all, you should understand the difference between Canadian law or, I don't know, Ukrainian law, for example. So here, the rights, I can say, on the side of employees. So it's first thing that Canada protect more the rights from their employees.
Okay.
And it's risky to provide feedback because after that, people sometimes can manipulate with all this feedback. And honestly, if you will prepare well, if you will know all these answers, like you can feel that you are good. Sometimes it could be a personal decision. I don't know. You have 3 high-quality candidates, and you can feel that with this person, it will be easier for you to interact. It's not about hard skills, but just personal experience. So I would choose someone with whom it's easier to interact, to explain, and like more valuable experience. So if I would go and provide feedback, like how can I say in diplomatic way, do not offend person, I don't know. I think the best approach just to practice with all your interview skills, because if you're not confident, if you can't express your value for the business, for this person, for this department, like just use any opportunity to train your interview skills. It's just like a gym. If you go to the gym, you can be like a superstar from the first time, correct? Yeah. So every your practice will give you power, confidence, and all your answers will be more clear, more, I don't know, sharp, confident. Yeah.
But let's, like on the note of confidence, so let's speak that, let's say that person applied to different jobs, had, let's say, 20 different interviews. All of them were, the results was negative. Like they didn't get hired. How would you continue? Like where would you find that power to continue having that inner confidence when you approach your 21st interview, for example? What would be a suggestion? Because it's not easy, right? Like if you have been declined 20 times, you feel like maybe there's something wrong with me. But how do you go above that and continue shining?
Interesting question, Samir. I will give you an interesting example. I met a guy in my previous company, and I was like, all my admiration about his applying. So he found really the same position of job that he had in Ukraine, project manager in the bank, in a financial company. Great. So I said, wow, cool, great job. And he said, Olga, you know how many interviews I had? And how many? Like more than 100. I was so surprised about this resilience and about this, I don't know, optimism. I don't know how to say. Like, it's something incredible for me. Which advice? I don't know. Use career coaching. Use volunteer in the Calgary Public Library. There are a lot of organizations that can provide even free service and then ask feedback from them. Or sometimes you can even ask at the end of interview, like, who is your perfect candidate? What do you appreciate about your employees? Just to understand a little bit something behind roles. I mean, something about person, like what do they appreciate exactly in this company, exactly in this position. Yeah, just research, ask, and also network, also very helpful. So I use, how to say, service, I don't know. Okay, let's say tool. So it's a informational interview. And I use this approach even for my clients. So for example, one time I had IT client and he was firstly, and I didn't know like how can I help him if I didn't interact with IT people before.
Yeah.
So firstly, I started to have this informational interview with IT people from different Calgarian companies. And the same approach I used in my job seeking. So I try to speak with people who already work in the company where I would like to work, just to explore corporate culture, what do they appreciate, which challenges do they have. I don't know, one guy, for example, and he's not from my direction, he's not from HR, he was from finance, but he said me, okay, Olga, we have a call center and they have problems about turnaround, about learning, about some things. So when I had an interview with this company, I already knew this information and I couldn't find this information just in the internet. And I used all my background like to apply how it aligns with their needs. So this is really a helpful tool. And just one important thing, do not ask people to help you to find a job or to be your reference. Just be curious, open, and to ask different kinds of interesting questions about projects, about, I don't know, software, about something that correlate with your business, just to explore and to receive as much information as you need. And then you never know how it will be at the end. So sometimes this person could be your mentor or this person could be your friend. You never know, but it's very helpful. And it also improves your interview skills. And again, at the end, you can ask, like, how do you feel? What do I need to improve from my side?
That makes a lot of sense. And I like also the point of networking with your peers, because typically people think about, okay, I need to network, but I need to go and network with hiring managers. I need to network with the CEOs of the companies. But the CEOs will not give you the information like, oh, we have challenges with call centers, so that you could use that information when you go and actually talk to someone. This is a beautiful advice because, having those peers are just as good for a reference point as a hiring manager, maybe sometimes even better.
Yeah, and I remember your advice, like you said, your expression that networking is not hunting, it's like a farming.
Yes.
So again, you can work, already have a job in the company, and you can continue to build your network. So for example, I had learning, and it was for leadership, something around leadership, leader beyond any title. So I decided, okay, I will use this opportunity. And we had like something like 20 or 25 leaders in the group. So then after this learning, I just connected with everyone. And I had like a coffee time, just 20, 30 minutes. And it's so helpful also to understand your business, different departments. It's so cool, so interesting to know people, and sometimes it's about a lot of internal resources and time and like no guarantee. But again, you don't want to receive something from every interaction, but just be open, be curious, and just trust and enjoy all these interactions. This is the best approach.
Trust the process. Maybe not the first coffee, maybe the 100th coffee, but something will happen, and the puzzle, maybe you don't see it in the first day, the puzzle will come together and we're going to become a beautiful career picture.
Absolutely.
Also, I would say in terms of networking, one thing I find people forget is that once you have a job, you still have to continue networking, but not only externally but internally as well.
Absolutely.
Networking with your peers inside the company, understanding the company culture better, making new friends, because that's how you progress in the organization as well.
Absolutely. And one thing that you are the person who need to be responsible for your career, not your manager, not someone who should notice you, just you. And how to build your career. It's not just about professional achievements, but also about interactions. And I don't know, if you have more interactions with people from different departments and you can collaborate better, you can bring better or something in all these interactions. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. You are the owner of your career. I like that.
Yeah.
Because who's going to make the choices for you if it's not you who's making those choices? You cannot rely on others, right? You have to take ownership. I like that.
Absolutely. I read the book Extreme Ownership, and it was like one insight for me. Like usually if we use this word, responsibility, ownership, we can think that, okay, it's about leader, but no. Especially in Canadian environment, you can feel your own ownership. And even if you had a mistake or your department had a mistake or I don't know, something going wrong. So what is your responsibility? What is your ownership? Maybe you didn't interact well with your leader.
Yes.
Maybe you didn't bring something important or you didn't communicate well about risks or something. Just think how you can collaborate better with people, with your leader.
Yes. That's also another good point, because I have seen it very, very times when you are thinking and relying that, okay, this is another person's responsibility. Something might go wrong in the process. So if you want the result, you have to take, not to overuse it, but to continue on the same theme, you have to take ownership of the process and all parts of the organization. I like that. But I want to bring back to your earlier point, because you mentioned how your background is in finance and then you slowly moved to HR, but you were able to showcase those transferable skills.
Mm-hmm.
How would you suggest for some of our listeners, because they might want to have a career change as well, what is the best way to articulate that their skill set is actually quite relevant to where they want to go?
I would say don't use just generic phrases.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to mention about your communication skills, so 100 people will say the same. But what do you mean exactly? And how you can apply all your communication skills? Okay, so I don't know, if you go to insurance business, mention something about long-term relationship, that you can build trust, that you can build this. If you go to, I don't know, what do you mean exactly about your communication skills? Can you, I don't know, do your public speaking? Or can you build a relationship with people from all departments and all levels? So be specific, what do you mean and how it will be useful exactly for this company and exactly for this position. Mm-hmm. This is, I think, the best approach, because we are I think all immigrants, they are very adaptable and very entrepreneur mindset.
Yes.
So sometimes we don't have all the resources, but we can figure out. And okay, bring this ability. It's not usual. It's not common. Bring this ability and articulate and explain how you can help them to solve different questions.
Articulating is important, because the other person is not in your brain.
Absolutely.
They don't know what you're thinking about and they don't know what you're capable about. So if you're unable to explain it to them, to articulate to them, then how would they know?
Yeah, exactly. And I was so surprised from all this interview from the beginning. They asked me, for example, Olga, do you know something about Excel? And for us, it's impossible to be on this position and to know how to create a presentation in PowerPoint and how to work in Excel or how to work with Outlook. But anyway, you should mention all these things that will be relevant for this position. And sometimes if you don't have some specific background, I know that you can tell whatever, but I prefer to be honest, like 100%. And okay, I don't have enough diversity experience, for example, and I will tell them, okay, I have a strong background in this direction, but here, like, sorry, I don't have enough experience. And then they will decide what to do. They can already tell you, it's not a problem for us. We appreciate that you have this background and it's difficult to find one person who can know all these things.
And that's a good point. It's be honest, because at the end of the day, that's why people or organizations, they have those probation times. Because if you're not honest during the probation time, that will probably come up. And of course, different organizations, probation times are different. It could be 3 months, it could be 6 months. I know of a couple that has 1 year of probation time. So
yeah, and people are not stupid. They can feel like, is it true or no? And you can, prove all these things. Yeah.
But then in terms of, immigrant talents, so you mentioned that, immigrants can be entrepreneurial. What other, do you think, biggest misconceptions or strengths, maybe, a different question, some strengths that immigrants bring that is typically may be overlooked by some of the HR specialists?
Let me think. First thing, I don't know, I see from my personal experience, from the stories of my clients, we can figure out this confidence, and we are hardworking, we are problem-solving people, and like all our approach, we used to work like everything should be done yesterday.
Yes.
And this is our strength. But at the same moment, I see in Canadian environment, sometimes it could be our weakness. Because sometimes if we will interact with people, reach out person and ask something, and then it will be scheduled in 2 weeks, for us it's, okay, so we should be also patient.
Yes.
With all this speed, with all this schedule, and people have different priorities, and it's okay. And
I like the point of priorities, because I believe one of the challenges that, I had back home is that management sometimes wasn't able to prioritize things correctly. And that's why we were always busy, we were always rushing. And when you need it by, like you said, yesterday. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, because there's an ability to prioritize, people know, okay, like this can wait, so we can have the call to discuss this in 2 weeks. But this is urgent, so let's talk about this tomorrow, for example, or maybe even today. But for me personally, it was the same story that when I came here, it's like, I needed to rush, and everyone was not rushing. And it took me some time to adjust, to learn the realities, and then actually improved my time management skills as well. Because now, okay, I know how to manage my time and how to be respectful of other people's time as well. Because I think that's another thing that people forget when in their home countries. It's not always the same way about respecting other people's time.
Absolutely. And they respect your personal life, your boundaries. They appreciate to have this life balance. Sometimes, I don't know, it depends from company, but sometimes you can't find someone at the office after 4:30, I don't know. And I think it's great. We used to find anything that we need, I don't know, 9 p.m. or 8 p.m., or you can interact with people after the work time. But here, no, it's not good. It's not polite.
It's not polite, yes, exactly. But in terms of, reaching out, like looking at resumes, looking at different people that come and you interview them right now. When you look at the resume, like you did say, like try to keep it short. And I think for that, if people want to read more about you, it's good to have that very up-to-date LinkedIn page. And LinkedIn can be very, very long. You can put all your achievements, all your history, all that you have done there. Because like once they looked at your trailer, basically, they can go and watch the full movie on LinkedIn. But when people prepare and send you that 1 page, maybe maximum 2 page resumes, what would you say attracts your attention? What are some tips you would give to people who are listening to us? Say, okay, do this, do that.
It should be relevant. It should be relevant exactly for this company, exactly for this position.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're, let me think, let me give you maybe some examples. But again, it depends what is my prioritized for me. Mm-hmm. And again, if we're speaking about oil and gas, it will be one prioritized. If we're speaking about public sector, it will be something another. And you should catch this language, and you should put all these keywords in your resume. Don't just copy paste all these things from ChatGPT, because 100 people will do the same. But just calibrate your own background to this position, to this job description. And job description and site of the company will give you a lot of information, what is really important for them. Then if you feel that, okay, resume, it's not enough for me to express everything that I have, okay, you can make a video introduction. And sometimes it's so relevant to see how you can interact, how you can articulate things. Also, you can make a portfolio, like 1 page, I don't know, PowerPoint. If you're from HR, if you're from marketing, if you're from finance, just put the main project that will be relevant and explain something with numbers, something with industry, like what was challenging, what was your responsibility, what was impact, and then share something relevant. So if you have so the goal of resume just to attract attention and just to invite you for the interview. So the goal of resume do not receive a job. The goal of the resume that they will notice you and then they will invite you. And I would highly recommend also to make all these applications with a high quality. Also to apply your cover letter. Sometimes people think, oh, they will not read cover letter. No, they will read. And again, speaking about cover letter, there are two main goals. Just to show that your background, your experience is relevant, and to show your enthusiasm, why you are excited about this company. Every employer would like to hire highly motivated people. They don't want to have someone exhausted or like, whatever.
Yes, yeah. They don't want to spend their energy on motivating you. If you come and you show that you're already motivated, it makes their life easier as well.
Yeah.
But I like the idea about video, and I like the idea that you're trying to iterate the point that a resume will not get you a job straight away.
Yeah.
And I think some people forget that. I remember a gentleman reached out to me from back home, and he's like, I'm sending resumes and nothing happens. He's asking like, what the hell, like, why is nothing happening? And exactly, because to your point, he wasn't adapting, he wasn't preparing, he wasn't getting ready. But I will also share a story when I moved here, and I was talking to different people trying to understand the market. One piece of advice that I received was very helpful was, in your resume, add a sentence or two about the company that you worked for back home. Because people here reading it, they don't know that company. For me, it was one of the biggest commercial banks in Azerbaijan. But how would they know about that if they have never heard about the name? And that point, like I put in my resume, I put 2 sentences about the bank, the assets of the banks and all that, plus a little website or like a link to the website.
Absolutely.
To showcase that, it wasn't a B lender, it wasn't an organization that people have never heard about. It's a leading bank, and the leading specialist for a leading bank is perceived differently.
Yeah, it's a really a great point. So I would prefer, if it's a famous company, just provide the link and just few description that, again, if it will be relevant.
Yes. If it's relevant, of course.
If it's relevant, I mean, if I had my own photo agency, like who cares?
Yeah.
It will be not relevant that I was a photographer. Okay. And what? Like, do not provide a lot of additional information just to show that you were, I don't know, hardworking or like entrepreneur or you had your own business. Sometimes it could be too much. Even if you arrived to Canada and, I don't know, let's say first 1 or 2 years, you had a simple job. I don't know, you worked with, I don't know, Walmart or something. So just try to think as employer. It could be helpful for you or not. Do they need this information? Because sometimes it's even better to show, I don't know, gap and to explain, yes, I had a gap. I moved. It was a war. It was, I don't know, my family reasons or something.
Maternity leave,
Exactly.
You had a kid, maybe something else, different reasons. Exactly.
Yep.
But another question then, just in terms of the resume. One of the things I hear a lot is the term overqualified. Mm-hmm. People may come here, and I had the same nuance when I just moved because at that time I just completed my PhD, and some HR people were looking at, some were telling me, it's too much, remove everything. Some people are saying, no, actually add everything, keep everything. So what's your approach? What do you think is, I know it all depends also on the person who will receive it and read it, but your rule of thumb in general, what should be the approach?
I don't have any strict rules. I'd prefer do not lie. Mm-hmm. But be ready to articulate. So why they will worry about overqualified? Just think a little bit. Okay, what it means for them. So recruiting, it's very expensive process for the company. If they will cover this position, they don't want to have again gap in 3 months. So you should articulate that, okay, I have this background, I have this education, but also I'm very interested in this company and in this position, and I'm interested to build my long story with this company, and I don't want to jump from one company to another. So I'm highly interested, and don't worry, it will be not boring for me, like a lot of challenges now, and I'm learning this and this. So just explain all these things. Canadian people, they like to be logic, clear, so just fill all these gaps and help them to digest all these things, and that's all. But there is, like, after every workshop, I can read all my feedback, and it's so funny. So I have 90 minutes of workshop, and someone will tell me, oh, it will be better to have 60 minutes. Someone will tell, oh, it will be better to have 2 hours. Yeah. Some will tell, like, it will be a better virtuals. In the same moment, like, we are different, and you never know what will be a good or bad, but just to show, okay, you have a potential for the future, but it's also interesting to work with this company, and explain why it's so interesting.
That's a very good way to put it. Also, at the beginning, you mentioned that you found mentors that help you out. So some of the people listening to us today, they might be looking for a mentor. How would you, or what would be your suggestion in terms of approaching that? How do you even ask a person to become your mentor?
Oh, thank you for this question. I love to interact with mentors, and my first approach was official and formal. I reach out all these organizations, my professional organization like CPHR, organization for immigrants, for women, for supporting. So my first mentors were from there, and they are great people, but because of this formality, I didn't feel, I don't know, some chemistry or something. So my another mentors, they were, and it was so scary for me to interact with them because it was in my head and it was my dream. I just thought, oh my God, she's so cool. I would love to have her as a mentor. So I had this informational interview with her, and they just asked about their company, about her experience, la la la. And then at the end of our meeting, meeting, I said, oh my God, it would be so great to have you as a mentor. And because we already have some connection and we like each other. So she said, of course, Olga. Another my mentor was from my company. Now she left company, but anyway, she's still my mentor. And it's great, just try, and no guarantee, but like, I don't know, it's just a few seconds of inconvenience, uncomfortable, but then what you can receive, it's worth it.
It's worth, yes.
Yeah.
And do you have a rule of how many mentors should a person have? Because maybe they can cancel out each other if it's too many people, give you opposite suggestions.
It's based on your, I don't know, let's say, for example, if I dream to write my own book, I will reach out people who already did this.
Yes.
If I don't know, if I'm interested in education in Harvard, for example, I will reach out people who already. So for me, the main criteria, this person should be interesting for me. Then I will reach out, then I will try to find the way how to explain what I would like to have. But just remember that it's both sides beneficial. It's like a mutual connection, and it's so great. Now I'm a mentor, and I would say, oh my gosh, it's so cool to see how people grow, to support. And sometimes it's just 1 hour in a month. But then you just say something and you can see, oh my gosh, it was so helpful for them. So it's enjoyable for both parts. So no rules, just based on your feelings. I don't know.
Makes sense. Another question I have for you, because again, we're talking about cultural differences. I remember when I came here, I attended a workshop about working at a company in Canada, because it's also a different mindset.
Yeah.
I remember my first day at work. Before going to work, I was talking to my manager back then, and I asked him, any tips, any advice? And he was telling me, don't wear a tie. I'm like, how? I'm a banker. I always wear a tie. In fact, back home, I will always wear a tie in a 3-piece suit, like, how can I come to work without wearing a tie? And so you have to adjust to the new realities.
Oh, yeah.
What would you suggest in terms of how to adapt? What are some of the common mistakes that you see when people go into a Canadian work environment?
The main tip would be attentive and be open and be curious to know different culture. So, for example, they are very polite, they are very patient. So just sometimes you don't need just to jump and to react fast, just pause, and sometimes even control your eyebrow. Just don't react and try to understand from the beginning, and then everything makes sense. Just try to understand all these things. And one more specific things. So we are very different, and you should respect this, and don't came to another house with your own rules.
Yes. Yeah.
So just be open, and they don't have, as you know, this strict hierarchy, for example, as we have in our motherland. So in my native country, especially if you work, for example, for oil and gas, for big company, so this hierarchy feels like a wall.
Yes.
And it's not polite if you want to interact with your, I don't know, sales director. But here, hierarchy like a shared table. I don't know, your VP can send you directly email, or they can suggest your to help you with something, even with some personal things. And I was so surprised about this level of humanity, kindness, humbleness. Yeah, so I see, oh my gosh, there are a lot of things that I should learn from them. And be ready that we are a little bit different, and we need a time to adjust our own style of communication, of reactions, of building relationship.
I think it's a very good point, because you're treated as a human and as a professional, and you have to have that mutual respect back, treat everyone the same way as a human and as a professional in what they're doing.
Yeah, I have a friend and she works for Canadian company, but they have a different companies and partners in different countries. And she said, Olga, so for example, if I will interact someone from Colombia, so my first 20 minutes of conversation will be around, how is your mom? How is your dog? How is your children? But if I will interact with someone from Germany, for example, oh no, like nothing additional, just about work, very direct, very dry. So we should adjust our style about our communication, about our relationship, even with leader. Because I will give you example. I was so surprised in the good way. So here you should build your career and you should interact with your leader and just to be open that, okay, like I feel that I need something more. And your leader will be your partner. So you don't need to act behind their back, but they will support you. Okay, like they will give you opportunity in different projects, in different, I don't know, conference or something. So I feel so good now about all these things that they don't feel, again, I can say about everyone,
yes.
But I think if you are open and if you show your intention that you don't need to give me opportunity just right now, right here, but for the future, just be aware that I'm interested about more responsibilities, more projects, something different.
Yeah, and that's why it's called career development,
Yep.
right? Because I think, to your point, one of the biggest things back home is that here your leader is in the development process with you and you work at it together, because it shows positively on the leader if they can say, okay, no, I helped this person go from here to here, and then the other person from there to there, and so on and so forth. Absolutely. It shows them as a professional and not just as a person who takes.
Absolutely. And I really love this expression, like real leaders create new leaders. Mm-hmm. So they're really proud of you, of another team members, if they can help you to grow and to receive new opportunities. Yep.
And then just continuing on the note of HR, there's a lot of misconceptions of HR. There's a lot of sometimes stigma that, like how do you interact with an HR person? People might be a little bit afraid. On that note, what would your advice, or not even advice, but what do you think should be a myth that should disappear forever? That it's people think about this about HR professionals, but this is absolutely not true.
I would say not true. So HR people, it's not just people who hiring and firing, mm-hmm. Or I don't know, cares about birthday cake, but these people could be a real strategic partner in a growth and your business. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
I think it's not just about HR. I would give some advice for every people. Like, if you will be the owner of this company, like, can you see any improvements that we need to do? And then don't be afraid. Suggest your idea. Find right time, right shape of your idea, and then
the way to articulate ideas is also very important. It's not just I have hundreds of ideas. No, it's how you frame it as well, and the timing. And when you came here, so also working, trying to jumpstart your career. Have you ever had a time when you were thinking about giving up, when it was too difficult? And how did you go, what kept you moving? What kept you going forward?
Of course, many times. I'm a single mom with 2 children, and I also had my university, my professional organization, my own business, my work, a lot of things. So sometimes. But it's just a sign for me that I should have a rest. And then when I feel this power again, sometimes it could be 1 or 2 days, and then I can continue.
Yeah, it's always challenging, right? Like, so it's good to have that capability to take a step back, relax a little bit, and then get back into the game. I think people forget the power of stepping back for a little bit. You're trying to grind, push the ball, but sometimes just taking a step back, relax. But the same thing is going to the gym. If you go to the gym on a daily basis, your results will be there, but not as strong as if you give yourself some time to relax and let the muscles recover.
Absolutely. Oh, you can switch your attention to something different that you really enjoy. I don't know, go to dance bachata and then accept what you already achieved. Sometimes when you are highly in this process, you can say, oh, it's not a lot. But then, oh my God, it's a lot. And I should be grateful for myself, for people who around me and who supported me.
I think there's 2 points to that. First of all, is reflecting. It's comparing yourself to yourself is important so that you know where you were, where you are, but also not to compare yourself to others, because someone might have been in the same journey but 2 years longer than you have. So of course they had more time for progress. Others may had some more luck along the way, so they may be able. But if you start comparing yourself to others, you forget sight of what you have achieved and where you are at, and that can be a bit destructive.
Absolutely.
And then a last question. There are people listening and they're thinking about moving. Maybe they already moved here. Maybe it's a newcomer. They're looking for a job. But what would be your advice to newcomers as a general advice to continue them to be motivated and so that they can be successful?
I would say 2 things. The first, don't afraid to show up fully yourself as you are, your authentic things. Don't just be the same. Don't try to be the same. So save your authenticity. And the second thing, Canada appreciates consistency. What does it mean? You don't need to achieve something great in one day, but just small steps, step by step, but every day. Mm-hmm. It's about job seeking, it's about gym, it's about your projects. So Canada appreciates patience, consistency. Yeah, just keep going.
One step at a time.
Yeah.
Exactly. Perfect. Thank you so much. It was a lovely conversation. I appreciate you taking the time to share your experience, your knowledge with the group, let's say, and with our listeners. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for the interesting conversation, Samir.
Thank you.